The Xiaomi Smart Band 9 Active is a fitness tracker that's even cheaper than the already inexpensive Smart Band 9. In this test, we found out for you what compromises await us. In addition to the Smart Band 9 we tested a while ago, the Smart Band 9 Pro and the Smart Band 9 Active tested here have also been available since the end of November 2024. With an MSRP of approximately $30, the fitness wristband is even cheaper than the basic model, which was launched at just under $40. If you want to get your hands on it, you can choose between the color variants beige, white, black, and pink. The Xiaomi Smart Band 9 Active comes with a wider body than the Xiaomi Smart Band 9, but the display is smaller. Instead of 1.62 inches on the normal Smart Band, it remains at the 1.47 inches of the Smart Band 8 Active. Apart from that, the device has no real weaknesses in terms of design and workmanship, but is still clearly inferior to the Smart Band 9. We'll start with a confession. I've been testing Xiaomi's smart fitness wristbands for a few years now, but have really ignored the Active variant completely until now. If I had had my eye on this representative of the Smart Band series before, I wouldn't have been so surprised that the Active here doesn't stand for a robust version aimed more at outdoor fans or athletes. Instead, Active stands for, come on, let's bring out an affordable version, but we won't call it light or anything like that. Now armed with this new knowledge, I'm no longer surprised that the casing, unlike the Smart Band 9, is made without metal. So what you get here is a pure plastic bomber, which also doesn't have the wristbands that you simply clip on. Instead, you press the housing into the wristband, just as was previously the case with the standard model. At 45.9 by 26.94 by 9.99 mm and 16.5 gram without wristband, the Smart Band 9 Active is slightly shorter and thinner than the Smart Band 9, but more than half a centimeter wider and 0.7 gram heavier. Annoying when you also get a display that appears larger, but is actually significantly smaller than the standard tracker thanks to the thick bezel. And speaking of the display, this is also significantly weaker than the Smart Band 9. LCD instead of MOLED, lower resolution, lower brightness, no ambient light sensor, and more difficult to use. Basically, the fitness tracker, whose display shows the HyperOS logo at the start, is operated in the same way as other models in the range. There are no physical buttons, everything is controlled on the screen. This means you have to swipe down to access the notifications, swipe up for the apps, and swipe sideways to access the quick settings and widgets. However, the display isn't as nice as we're used to with the Smart Band. On the Smart Band 9, I touch somewhere and swipe down on the display when I want to call up the notifications. If I want to do this on the Smart Band 9 Active, I have to explicitly swipe down from the top edge. It's not a problem, but it's still less practical if you're used to doing it differently. Otherwise, the software runs smoothly and you naturally use Xiaomi's Mi Fitness app on your phone as a companion app. So we don't need to say much about this, just a small addition. Setting it up was very straightforward. And no, you can't make mobile payments via NFC with this tracker. This is the part of a fitness tracker test where you can let off steam. This is where the device can shine, show off its range of functions, and prove just how much more precise the tracking's become. To make a long story short, that's certainly not what we're talking about here. It starts with the fact that, as with the Smart Band 8 Active, only 50 instead of 150 sport modes are supported. Let's not kid ourselves, the author of these lines is far from utilizing even a fraction of these modes, regardless of whether it's 50 or 150. Still, it pisses me off that it's so significantly less. In addition, the Active wristband doesn't automatically recognize sports activities. What's even more annoying here is that I have the feeling that the tracking is less precise here. I have to say that I didn't have much time to do extensive laps outside, but I did complete a solid round of walking, which yielded these results. From the MyFitness app, it was 2.32 kilometers, 3,103 steps. For the Samsung Health app, it was 3.71 kilometers and 4,478 steps. And by the Google Fit app, it was 3.5 kilometers, 4,501 steps. The Samsung and Google apps are more or less identical here, but MyFitness tracks something completely different. This may have been a slip up, so we're gonna do it again and put all three apps against each other again. If the result is more consistent, we'll add it to the test here accordingly. Now, what else do we notice? There's no calendar app, but otherwise the range of function seems to be relatively identical to the Smart Band 9. One more thing, You may find it annoying that we compare the two trackers in the Smart Band 9 range so much in this review, but as the price difference is so small, we only think it's appropriate. Compared to the normal Smart Band, Xiaomi has increased the battery to 300 mAh. Sounds good, but unfortunately, the battery performs noticeably worse in the Smart Band 9 Active. There is also the usual annoyance about the short charging cable, which is attached to the pins with a magnet, the lack of a charger, and the lack of wireless charging. However, as this isn't available on the standard model either, we obviously don't hold this grudge against even the cheaper device. At the end of our test, would we recommend that you buy the Smart Band 9 Active? No, quite honestly not. Not because the device isn't worth the money in isolation. It would be a decent fitness tracker at a low price if Xiaomi didn't have a similarly priced but much better model in its portfolio. Price search engines tell us that the price of the Smart Band 9 has been within $5 of the active model. I therefore don't see how I could recommend this active version, which has a smaller, poorer display, offers only a third of the sports modes, has a shorter battery life, measures less precisely, and can keep up with the Smart Band 9 in terms of materials. Even if you're in a difficult financial situation where every dollar counts, we would advise against buying it. If you're not in a hurry, you can always find offers below $50 for the regular Smart Band 9.